Tommy going to the Serbs sounded stupid on paper, and no part of me thinks teaming with them will work out in the long run because they're opportunistic, just like all the other gangs. But it worked here because of their shared hatred for Ortega. Leave it to Tommy to take a match to things even further by killing the man's uncle. Surely that will go over well and have no lasting fallout for him or anyone else he's associated with. Tommy going to the Serbs sounded stupid on paper, and no part of me thinks teaming with them will work out in the long run because they're opportunistic, just like all the other gangs. But it worked here because of their shared hatred for Ortega. Leave it to Tommy to take a match to things even further by killing the man's uncle. Surely that will go over well and have no lasting fallout for him or anyone else he's associated with. Mireia avoided her brother's lifestyle her whole damn life, but now she's right in the middle of it, acting in There's Always a Price to Pay is also a really good episode for Vic Flynn. Vic is literally in bed with the party rep's assistant not once, but twice to get information for Tommy, and he succeeds in learning about Stacy's troubles. Vic suggests that Tommy become the biggest donor to Stacy's mayoral campaign, which is actually a pretty shrewd move. But mostly, it's interesting to see Vic in several different lights. He's scheming with Tommy, yet he also gets some moments of pseudo-happiness in these hookups, which he frankly deserves, and when he finds Claudia's girlfriend in his apartment his rage seems to be about a lot more than her. Vic is at his wit's end, and nobody can blame him, since nobody seems to take him seriously. He's a pawn in the eyes of just about everyone. Will that change before Season 3 ends, or will he be collateral damage? Claudia gets into a fight with her rival in prison, but ends up being the victor when she turns the other woman's crew against her. And then there's Mireia, who visits her brother in one of Miguel's sort of actually nice moments. Much of the hour centers on Dmac, whose behavior is starting to echo the energy of O-Dog from Menace to Society. He is young, angry, and reckless, but where O-Dog had sharp instincts, Dmac is far more gullible. He is desperate to prove himself no matter the cost, unaware of how easily he is being manipulated on all sides. There is a little of Tommy's fearlessness in him, but he never had the kind of mentorship Tommy once had from Breeze and Kanan. That lack of guidance is shaping up to be his downfall. The episode doubled down on the idea that Tommy is losing control of his environment because his emotions are finally getting the best of him. His relationship with Mireia is deepening in a way that is affecting his judgment. She cannot handle cigar smoke and seems to be living on ice cream, which raises questions the episode is clearly hinting at. Tommy even straps her up for protection, a moment that symbolizes how tangled his personal life has become. Someone is going to end up pulling a trigger, and the show is building suspense around who it might be. When Miguel was introduced, they kept hyping up how scary he was, and I didn't see it until I saw him with that pig. The way he sliced a man's finger clean off and then got beyond excited about seeing his little piglet friend was terrifying. Vic finding out that Stacy needs money was pretty clever, and the idea of Tommy very simply paying Stacy off would be funny. Money talks. Fun fact. The woman who plays Ray is married to Shane Harper in real life. How cute! Claudia's prison redemption story did not move me one bit. I fear she really thinks she runs something, and one of these days, she'll have that long overdue date with Tommy, and it will not end well for her. Diamond had even convinced Jenard that killing Dmac was for the greater good, and they still couldn't make it happen. The King Kilo thing feels like it's going to hang around until he cuts ties with the coalition. Tommy does some digging and finds out that there's been a hit out on Dmac, and that Diamond's known about it the whole time. That secret is just too big to stay. Tommy going to the Serbs sounded stupid on paper, and no part of me thinks teaming with them will work out in the long run because they're opportunistic, just like all the other gangs. But it worked here because of their shared hatred for Ortega. Leave it to Tommy to take a match to things even further by killing the man's uncle. Surely that will go over well and have no lasting fallout for him or anyone else he's associated with. Tommy going to the Serbs sounded stupid on paper, and no part of me thinks teaming with them will work out in the long run because they're opportunistic, just like all the other gangs. But it worked here because of their shared hatred for Ortega. Leave it to Tommy to take a match to things even further by killing the man's uncle. Surely that will go over well and have no lasting fallout for him or anyone else he's associated with. Mireia avoided her brother's lifestyle her whole damn life, but now she's right in the middle of it, acting incredibly naive. The last 5 minutes of this episode were worth sitting through the lackluster hour. There were gasps and laughs in my household watching a snake be revealed, Diamond and Jenard be gobsmacked, and Tommy finally seeing that he's more out of the loop than he ever realized. It was the perfect ending, a 10 out of 10. Tommy wants to take over Chicago and control the whole city in a way he could never quite master in New York, and he's so damn close that he's not seeing anything else beyond the finish line. Getting to that finish line will require a lot of moving parts working in tandem, perhaps none bigger than the coalition, and his antics so far this season have done nothing to shore up those alliances. Instead, they've caused even more division amongst gangs who aren't at all interested in getting into the middle of a cartel war. Nobody wants to turn up like Chavo, and for that reason alone, gangs were dropping out of the coalition, which doesn't help Tommy at all. He and Diamond even admitted they need bodies. It's just stupid decision after stupid decision so far this season, and while it's entertaining, some of the things these people are doing doesn't quite make sense to me. But hey, sometimes you have to throw spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks, or something like that. Tommy's always been a wild card. He could be the most intelligent guy in the room, but we've seen his emotions lead him into some dangerous situations on numerous occasions. And that's to say nothing of the fact that his narcissism often hinders him from seeing outside of his limited scope. Tommy wants to take over Chicago and control the whole city in a way he could never quite master in New York, and he's so damn close that he's not seeing anything else beyond the finish line. Getting to that finish line will require a lot of moving parts working in tandem, perhaps none bigger than the coalition, and his antics so far this season have done nothing to shore up those alliances. Instead, they've caused even more division amongst gangs who aren't at all interested in getting into the middle of a cartel war. Nobody wants to turn up like Chavo, and for that reason alone, gangs were dropping out of the coalition, which doesn't help Tommy at all. He and Diamond even admitted they need bodies. Still, instead of doing right by that coalition and strengthening it, Tommy has continued to come after Ortega and push his own agenda at every turn, which is great for him but not so great for everyone else. I can understand that Tommy wants revenge, and Ortega has tried to kill him more than once at this point, so he's entitled to get his lick back. But again, that's Tommy not thinking outside of himself. He can get to the top of the food chain. I wholeheartedly believe that. But he won't get there alone. He'll need CBI, and others at the end of the day, and these moves he's making aren't exactly endearing him to anyone. Though the name of the game right now seems to be the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so what do I know?
Into the season, and Tommy's battles have fleshed out the character in ways that Power never could. In the original series, though Tommy and Ghost were partners and even operated independently at times, they were always inexorably connected. Power Book 4, Force has made Tommy clearly number one, with all the positives and negatives that entails. The subtle psychological shift of being professionally beholden to no one else has given him an extra edge. There's also no one to check him and he faces the full consequences of his mistakes. One aspect of Power Book 4, Force that's particularly intriguing is its exploration of Tommy's newfound family, his half-brother J.P. Gibbs, Anthony Fleming III, and nephew Dmac, Lucien Cambric. Though Dmac being JP's son isn't public knowledge yet, it's bound to come out eventually, and JP has already told Tommy that he's in a financial bind. Ghost's family was completely caught up in the game, even his true love Angela was a US attorney. JP is trying to stay on the straight and narrow as is Gloria, and Dmac's not totally in yet. Tommy can have a side of his life that has nothing to do with drugs, giving himself a balance and saving himself from making the mistakes Ghost made by being unable to keep things separated.
Starz has released a new trailer for Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4 Part 2 alongside some first-look photos that tease a final showdown. The newly released trailer sets the stakes high for emotional final episodes, emphasizing that no one is safe. Part 2 of the final season will premiere on Starz at 8 p.m. in the US on Friday, September 6th. Episodes will be available to stream on the Starz app from midnight. In the first half of Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4, unanswered high-stakes questions were uncovered and Tarek learned he is the father of Diana's baby. Part 2 will showcase the adage, like father, like son. Tarek finds himself in an eerily similar situation, just like his late father, Ghost, stuck between a rock and a hard place, with the choice to leave the game or take over, reads the official synopsis for Part 2. Entrapped by Detective Carter, the Tejada family realizes their safety is not guaranteed. Monet fiercely fights for her family to become whole again, but is it too late? Noma is working her way to the top of the food chain. Meanwhile, her daughter, Anya, gets too close to the game, forcing Noma to think twice about her actions.
Dark clouds forming in the heavens over me, but I say hallelujah anyway.
As they held their guns up towards each other, Monet told Tarek that she knew they both had a lot of reasons to want to take each other out, but she had a better idea. She proposed that if he give her kids a pass, she'll give him one too. Monet explained that all she cared about at the moment was making sure her family was safe, especially her grandbaby. Tarek, who is obviously still shell-shocked by the news, lowers his gun before leaving the house. That episode ends with Tarek pulling up to the party/concert Braden put together for No Lie. When they finally catch up, Braden breaks down all the logistics of how their business will run and Tarek is very impressed. When Braden is done, he asks Tarek how things went with the Tejadas. Tarek tells him that he might not drink before he gets into it and also says that needed to hit the blunt Braden was hitting at the moment. As the two sit at the bar, Tarek spots Anya. He walks up and offers to pay for her drinks as he introduces himself. She tells him that she can pay for her own drinks. Tarek responds by saying he could see that but she shouldn't have to. She loved the line and introduced herself. The episode ends with Tarek telling Anya that it's nice to meet her. That boy cold. Power Book 2, Ghost continues to dominate television screens as it approaches its mid-season finale in its final 10-episode run. This spin-off from the original Power series, which concluded in 2020, has garnered significant attention, with Season 4 attracting 6.5 million multi-platform viewers during its debut week on Starz. Michael Rainey Jr. portrays Tarek St. Patrick, the son of James St. Patrick, known as Ghost, a former drug lord and businessman. Tarek, who killed his father in the original series, now navigates a dual life as an Ivy League college student and a drug dealer. Season after season, viewers witness Tarek's attempts to earn his inheritance through education, only to be drawn deeper into a life of crime. He embodies the legacy of Ghost, version 2.0, as per the report by Radio Times. Adding to the complexity, Detective Don Carter, Michael Ealy, enters the fray, determined to bring down Tarek and his associates, including federal agent Angel Young, with ties to Paz and Angela Valdez. The impending threat forces Tarek and his loved ones into precarious situations, testing their resilience and alliances. The Starz app offers streaming for every Power franchise installment, including Power Book 2, Ghost. Fans excitedly await the dramatic finale of this spin-off, which functions as a sequel and a standalone story in the Power universe, as the series gets more intense with each new episode release.
Despite the Starz show's lengthy hiatus between seasons, the third season debut does not reassure viewers of its world.